Sorry?
How many floors is it?
Do you want to be the executioner, yeah?
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
At least you'll get away with it.
Oh, yeah.
Probably no.
Okay, online guys as well, just go through these questions. So based on what we did last lesson, you should know the answer to all of these questions. So, and if you're not sure about any of these questions, just refer to your principal one and the 2 notes that I gave you from last week. And online guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask as well. Okay, let me just put that. And sisters, if you need more sheets, let me know.
That's why the injections.
So refer to your principles here from last week.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's the one.
So patches like nicotine patches, let's say nicotine patches.
Yeah. So it should be allowed.
Some people, I know,
You're not getting full marks. You can't get one wrong.
Yep. Yes, we started like 10 minutes ago. The women asking if they should come down during the lesson won't be good.
when it's more respect and it's more love, more
Okay. Everyone know all the answers to these questions? How many sisters are there now? Okay, so let's get started. So we've got quite a lot of stuff to do. Let's see how much we need to get through everything today. This is our last session in the Fiqh of Ramadan. Well, at least the main things anyway for the non-fiqh students. Okay, so let's begin. So all of these questions I put up, and online guys, what you can do for the time being, I haven't been able to send it. If you just want to take a picture of your screen, so you have these questions with you. So I'll give you about 20 seconds. Just take your phone out and just get us a picture of these questions. So you have it. Yes. Okay, so all the answers to all of these questions are based on principle 1 that we learned last week. Okay, there's the mouse. Let's make this bigger. Okay, so everyone should be able to see principle 1. Am I recording? Yes, I am. Yes, Jazakallah khair.
Do you have a sheet of that principle one?
Yes, but not on me at the moment.
Tell me like,
Yeah, I was printing up. The printer's jammed. Something happened. I don't know. So I was about to print some of them out, but after I printed these, then it got jammed. Okay, but anyway, okay. So what we need to we need to finish off these 5 principles. If you understand these 5 principles, then you will understand the fiqh of fasting, and then you can guide yourselves, you can guide your families, you can guide your friends. You'll basically become 99% of a master at the fiqh of fasting. And inshallah, you'll remember this for all the other Ramadans to come. So like I said before, just a quick recap of the main point. Fiqh is all to do with principles. Once you understand the principles, everything else revolves around it. So instead of memorizing, let's say, 30 different rulings, all you need to do is memorize one principle, and you automatically understand the rulings to the 30 different cases. That's how fiqh works. So far I've put up in section 1 in your questions, 21 questions that you should be able to answer based on principle 1 that we covered last lesson. So just a recap of what principle 1 is. So if you weren't here last lesson, you will be a bit lost, but just try and do as much as you can. So the whole last session was on principle 1, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So principle 1. So when does the fast break? So there's 3 things to memorize. So when a substance with a perceptible body, very important, something you can see, enters an orifice of consequence. So that's the second thing you need to memorize. So something that is a perceptible body enters an orifice of consequence, meaning the mouth, nose, or what's the third one? Just as everyone's saying? Mouth, nose, or? Rectum, yeah? The backside. Or the fourth one is if the eardrum is popped. And reaches the stomach or intestines. Okay, mashallah. 2 people are paying attention. Okay, so this is the principle, or we called it a factory last time, that you have to memorize. So this is the principle you have to memorize. Okay, any questions about principle 1? Okay, let's quickly go through all of these. So we're going to spend 20 seconds on each question, hopefully. Okay, and also the 2 notes that you needed to know, the mouth is treated as an external part of the body, which means if you put something into your mouth, does your fast automatically break? No. So you can chew a pen lid, it will not break your fast. It's not advisable, but if someone did, it will not break their fast. So mouth is external of the body. Note number 2, cases wherein it is difficult to prevent a substance from entering the body are exempt. So something you just can't avoid. It's just going to happen. So obviously we can't say everyone will break their fast all the time. So these cases are exempt. So anything which is difficult to abstain from, yes.
Does it matter if you can see it or don't see it even?
Well, if you can't see it, that's not going to break your fast anyway, because the first condition is it has to be a perceptible body. So here we're talking about things that we can actually see. That by logic, according to the definition, our fast should have broken. Yeah? Okay, so number 1. If some fibers of the miswak are accidentally swallowed, will that invalidate the fast?
No. But then you put that miswak in your mouth, haven't you?
Okay, yes. So these are cases where, so we actually, last week we discussed this briefly. In time, the Prophet ﷺ, the Sahaba, they used miswak while fasting, isn't it? So hence, naturally, some bristles would have gone down their throat and they didn't say anything about it. So hence, we'll treat this as a case wherein it's difficult to abstain from. Everyone got that? So if you're brushing your teeth with miswak, some fibers go down the mouth, fast still valid. Number 2, does vaping or taking an inhaler, smoking break the fast? Yes. So reply, is it a perceptible body? Yes. Is it going through an orifice of consequence? Yes, the mouth. And some of it through the nose. And it reaches the stomach. Okay. Number 3. Will smell... Yeah.
What about passive smoking?
Okay, so passive smoking, does that break the fast? Good question. Why not?
Because you're not intention.
Good. Not intention. Yeah, intention doesn't play a bit of a role. But here, these are things we're difficult to abstain from. So imagine you're walking down the street and someone's smoking. Has your fast broken? It's difficult to abstain from, isn't it? Yeah. So hence, we'll use note number 2 to say that's not broken. Okay, so smoking and things don't break the fast. Okay, okay, you know the Vicks tub that you use? Every Asian has one in their house. As soon as you become ill, take it out. So the Vicks tub. So imagine you've got a really blocked nose. You know what I'm talking about? That blocked nose or something. So you sniff that up, or let's say you put it in the bottom of your nose. So you can really like sniff it up into your brain. Yeah? Will that break the fast? No.
Not, you can't see it going into it.
Good. Yeah. So we put it into a factory. Number one, is it a perceptible body that's going up? No. Yeah, you can't see any particles going up your nose, can you? Yeah. So it fails on the first point. And online guys as well, if you have any questions, please do feel free. And I'm using a terrible laptop. It takes me about 5 minutes just to find where the mouse is. Let me just put where's the chat? Can't even see the chat. Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's continue. Okay, smelling perfume after it's been applied. Break or not? Remember, there's no neutral. If you didn't answer, it means you don't know the answer. Yeah, there's no neutral. You either know it or you don't. Okay, so does it break the fast? No. Why? It fails at which point? No perceptible body. Fails right at the first point. Okay, steam inhalation, however you say, how do you say that? Inhalation. Is that it? Therapy, however you say it. Therapy, break the fast. Why? Perceptible body. Is it going through an orifice of consequence? Yep, mouth and nose. Yeah, and okay, so that's fine. Will nasal sprays break the fast? Some people are answering.
Yeah.
Okay, why at the back? Why do you say yes?
As you can see it.
It's a perceptible body. And where's it going through? An orifice of consequence. Good. And it goes to the throat and it goes to the stomach. Good. So nasal sprays break the fast. Okay, so number 7. So someone takes a deodorant can, sprays it in the air, and then sniffs it up. For whatever reason, don't ask me why, but they do it. Okay, now you need to tell them the truth. Does it break their fast or not?
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, we'll put this into our factory. Is it a perceptible body? Yes. Is it going in through an orifice of consequence? Yes, and then reaches the stomach. Okay, fast broken. So if someone does it intentionally, because now you can't say it's one of those necessary cases where it's unavoidable. They're doing it on purpose, yeah, or they're being careless. Okay, but if you're just using that's a deodorant naturally, then that's fine. So I'm talking about like intentionally spraying it in the air and just try and sniff it in. Okay, next question: is it permissible to give blood while fasting?
Yes.
Okay, I get this question asked about 5 times every Ramadan without fail. Yeah. So yes, it's permissible to give blood while fasting. Does bleeding break your fast? No, nothing's going out of your nothing's going inside your body. Okay. Number 9. Does ingesting phlegm or gathering saliva together and ingesting it nullify the fast or not? So basically you gather all your saliva together and you swallow it. Does that break the fast?
No.
Yeah. Intentionally.
Well, no, I think it does.
Yeah.
Because this is the outer part, it's not the inner part.
So it's saying it would break.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so saliva is something which is unavoidable.
Right.
Yeah, so saliva is something which is unavoidable. Since if you swallow your saliva, it won't break the fast. This is something which is overlooked by the Sharia because it's difficult. Although I did see one person, he was constantly spitting in Ramadan. I still remember this years ago. And I asked him, why are you spitting for? He goes, I can't swallow my saliva, it's going to break. So he was the most luckiest man to run into me. He'd be spitting every Ramadan, every single day for the rest of his life.
Well, the question says gathering saliva. It's not just like normal use of saliva. It's like gathering it specifically to quench your thirst.
Okay. Okay, good question. Yeah. So then the question specifically says gathering saliva. Gathering saliva. So now when it comes to gathering saliva, okay, so now how do you define when you've gathered it, when you haven't gathered it? Is it 2 seconds or 10 seconds?
Gathering indicates it's an intentional act. It's not an accident.
Yeah, so even to draw the line, it'd be very difficult. Where do you actually draw the line? Even if you act, sometimes what happens is without even realizing you just do it, but it just becomes very difficult to draw the line. And it's something just so natural to us that we're going to be swallowing saliva anyway. But what we do say, if someone intentionally does it for the purpose of quenching their thirst, is disliked. So it goes against the spirit of fasting. And we don't know whether they'll lose the rewards or not, but it's possible because they're doing something which is against the spirit of fasting. So swallowing the saliva of the miswak also does not break the fast either.
So where can I get a pen?
Where can you get? That's a good question.
I'll
Um,
find it. You've got it.
the first should be there, the bottom shelf. Or there should be like pencil cases and with actual pens and pencils if anyone wants one. Yeah, you can just put it in the middle. If anyone wants to make notes in your sheets, feel free to make notes in the sheets. Okay, next one. Let's quickly go through them. Okay, do rectal pessaries or enemas break the fast? This is a medication they put inside the rectum. Did they break the fast?
Yeah.
Yes, it's a perceptible body. It's going through an orifice of consequence, and it reaches the stomach or the intestines. Good. Okay, I don't even know how to say the next one. Intravenous or intramuscular injections and drips. So something you just inject into your body and just let it come inside. Do they break the fast?
Yeah.
No.
Who says yes, they break the fast?
Well, is it nutritious though, isn't it?
Who says no, it doesn't break the fast?
I think if it goes into your stomach, that was the trips.
Those rules. But based on those rules, say no.
Yeah.
First one.
So the first rule of Fiqh class, you cannot say I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot say I think. You have to take a definition and then apply the definition. It's first rule of Fiqh class. Unless it's a thinking area where it's not based on any principles, then the sentence I think is very valuable. Okay, so again, so we're going to throw any scenario that we take. Does it break our fast or not? Where do we throw it? Into the factory. This is our factory for those of us that I missed last session. Okay, so we throw this. Okay, so a drip, let's say. So a drip, does that break the fast? Let's throw it into our factory. So number one, is it a perceptible body?
Yeah.
It's a liquid, yes it is. And then it enters through an orifice of consequence. Is the drip going through an orifice of consequence? No. The orifice of consequence, mouth, nose, the rectum, yes. Or the eardrum if it's popped. Okay, so no, it's going into the arm or wherever it goes in through. So does that break the fast? No. Yes, it's going against the spirit of fasting if you do it without a medical necessity, but it does not break the fast.
Number 11.
That was 11, yes. Okay, number 12. Do eardrops break the fast?
No. First rule. I think it does, because you said for the ear as well.
Is it not Because it's ENT, isn't it? And connected to the
Just look at everyone, just make sure you read the definition very carefully. Because we need to be very sure of all of our answers. Yeah, online guys as well. And online guys, feel free to answer as well. So I know that you guys are still alive. So you can, you can do the private message that other students can't see. So on Zoom, you can just tell me quietly, or else what's going to happen? The first students, everyone's going to answer it, and then everyone's going to wait to copy. Yeah, so online guys as well, feel free to type me in your answers. Okay, so go on. Everyone put your hands up. Does it break the fast? If it does, put your hands up.
If it's not.
Hands down. Put your hands up if it doesn't break the fast. Put your hands up if it depends. Imran, what's the answer? Okay, yes, that's the answer. So let's throw it back into our factory. When a substance with a perceptible body, does it have a perceptible body? Yes, it does. Enters an orifice of consequence, which are the mouth, nose, rectum, or ear, brackets, if the eardrum is popped. Yes? So only if the eardrum is popped, then what happens? Then it will break. So in a normal scenario, if someone asked me, will eardrops break my fast? What would I say to that person? No, you wouldn't. Yeah. But I just put it in there. But if unless your eardrums popped, just that's the scenario. But my general answer would be no. Yeah, and I put like a disclaimer at the bottom. Yeah. So those that said yes, it does, that would be a wrong answer because that's like an exceptional case. Yeah. Everyone understood why? So this principle 1 must be memorized word to word. So you should be able to relate it to anyone in your dreams. If you're sleeping, someone asks, is my fast broken? You should be able to say principle 1 to them. That's how well you need to know this. Okay. So let's continue. So we've done eardrops. Will a smear test or anything entering into the female private parts break the fast? It's like a smear test. Generally, this is a common question as well. Smear tests. Okay. Is it a perceptible body? Yes. Is it entering into an orifice of consequence? Is it entering into an orifice of consequence? Check principle 1. Mouth, nose, rectum. Yeah. And 4th one is an eardrum. Yeah. So that's not an orifice of consequence. So that will not break the fast. Everyone got that?
Yeah.
Okay. Which one are we on now? 14. Let's say nicotine patches. Do they break the fast? Everyone? No. Why not?
Can't see it.
Yes, not entering to orifice of consequence. That's the correct answer. Yeah, has to go through the mouth, nose, or rectum, isn't it? Yeah. So it's going through the arm. It's not an orifice of consequence. Everyone got that? Okay. Then do injections break the fast, everyone?
No.
No. Why not? Good. So it's not entering to an orifice of consequence. I'm just checking the. Good. No entering the orifice of consequence. Good. Okay. Next one. Does taking necessary medication break the fast? Let's say you swallow something. Will that break the fast, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Same rule applies. Yeah. So if you take necessary medication, it breaks the fast. But of course, if you actually needed to take it, there won't be any sin. You just have to do qada of it at a later time if you're able to do so. Yeah. But it breaks the fast. Okay. Number 17. Someone woke up for suhoor and the clock wasn't working. So they ate into Fajr time accidentally. He stopped as soon as he realized. Will his fast be broken? Anyone say no?
Sorry, what's the
Sorry? Suhoor is like the meal before Fajr. When you wake up late at night
okay.
to eat before Fajr time starts. So he didn't realize. So go on, whoever said no, say no loudly.
No.
Okay, so why does it break the fast? Why doesn't it break the fast?
It wasn't intentional.
He wasn't here last week.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we read the principle,
Yeah, break it.
yeah, there's no mention of intention in there. If intention was a factor, then it would have been added to the factory. Yeah?
Like if you wake up at Dhuhr time accidentally, you can't. You can't very far from Dhuhr.
Yeah. So intention does not play a part over here.
The fast is broken.
Fast is broken. Yes. So qada must be. Yes. So here, sometimes we're confused whether fast is broken or not with am I sinful or not? Sometimes these two things are conflated together, but they're two different issues. So issue number 1 is my fast broken or not? Apply the factory. Yes, it's broken. Am I sinful or not? Will Allah punish me for making a mistake that I have no control over? No, Allah won't punish me. Allah's not, Allah's not like that. So yes, there's no sin, but fast is broken. Okay, so intention or accidentally does not play a role in this, or else it would have been.
You must pay for that.
Do qada, yes. So make up for the fast later. Okay, number 18. Food vapors and steam while cooking. Will that break the fast? Why not? Good, unavoidable. Yeah. So I want reference to the principles, yeah? Okay, good, mashallah. 19, if someone accidentally. Okay, we've already done that one, haven't we? Does bleeding break the fast? We've done that one. No, it doesn't.
It's forgotten. One is accidental and one is forgotten. And 19 is forgotten.
Some 19. Oh, 19 says accidentally as well. Yeah. There should be one for about forgetting, isn't there? 20, does that break the fast? No, it doesn't. Bleeding does not break the fast. 21, when we're bleeding for, okay, this was a something we need a bit of extra information on this, extra knowledge to answer this question. When we're bleeding from the gums break the fast? Who remembers from last week?
Bigger than the saliva.
Good. Good, mashallah. So when the quantity of the blood is more than the quantity of the saliva. And how do you tell? When you spit, depending on this color. So if the color is like a dark red, or is a red or dark orange, then the blood is more. So hence you've been swallowing. So basically it's in the ruling of blood. But if the saliva is more and the blood is less, then it's in the same ruling as saliva. Yeah. So hence the blood is overlooked. Okay, so these are the things that break the fast. Has everyone fully understood? So those of us, especially those of us that are were here last week, has everyone fully understood what breaks the fast and what doesn't break the fast?
Just the last one. Is it a yes or no?
Last one, it's a neither. So question 21, the answer is it depends. If the blood is more than the saliva, fast is broken. If the blood is less, if the saliva is more, then it's not broken. So it depends on which one's more. The blood is more, it's broken. If the saliva is more, not broken.
Yeah. All right.
So that's determined by the color of the saliva when you spit. Does that make sense?
Does, yeah. I'm guessing number 20 is a no.
Yeah, no.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So these are about 20. So about 20 of them, you should be able to answer just by using principle 1. See how principles make our life very easier? Or else we'll be trying to figure out, okay, trying to memorize the answer for each question. So this is how fiqh works. We memorize the principle, we understand all the cases around it. Sometimes for some cases, you do need a bit of additional information, but and some cases you don't, just straightforward. You just apply the principle and you put it on. Okay.
Number 90 again. Where it's accidental, right? So technically you've broken the fast.
Yeah.
But it's accidental, right?
Mm.
Is there anything in fiqh that? Well, yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Technically, it's broken.
Yeah.
But often, you've heard, and I've heard as well. If it's accidental, it's.
Okay. Nope. If it's accidental, it's broken. Yeah.
Forgotten.
It is forgotten.
Forgotten. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the difference between forgetting. So that's what we clarified last week. Difference between forgetting and accidental. Forgetting is I completely forgot I was fasting. And because I forgot I was fasting, I ate something. So let's say I ate a sandwich. And after I ate, I realized, oh no, I'm fasting. So hence this is forgetting, and the Prophet excused people that are forgetting.
Yeah.
So hence my fast does not break because I'm excused by the Prophet here. Accidentally, I know I'm fasting, but let's say while rinsing my mouth, some water went down my throat. This is accidental. So hence my fast is broken.
That's a third note, though, isn't it? If there's a hadith that excludes it as well.
Yeah, that's principle number 3, I think. Is it
It's 4.
principle number 4? Okay. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about if the fast is broken in any scenarios that you're not sure about? Anyone have any questions? No? Has everyone understood everything related to what breaks the fast? Yes? No? Okay, mashallah. Okay, so let's move on. Let's go through our principles and try and find the arrow. Did I just press the...
You're in Venezuela.
Sorry?
You're in Venezuela.
I think... What's happening?
You should have a map in your lap.
Yeah, got the mouse. There's all these weird things popping up. I think I accidentally closed it. I think that's what I did. Sorry, give me a second online, guys. Where's the principles? There we go. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen. Just wait, thinking for. Okay, now I need to zoom in, don't I? Okay, that'll do for now. Okay, so now we're going to do kafara. Okay, so for all these things that we mentioned, in those cases that breaks the fast, so there are two things. When a person breaks their fast, they have to do something called either they do qada, meaning they've broken one fast, they keep one fast after Ramadan to make up for it, or they broke two fasts in Ramadan, so they keep two fasts after Ramadan to make up for it. This is what we call qada. So you do exactly what you missed out. The other one is kafara. The meaning of kafara is penalty. The meaning of kafara is a penalty. And in this case is if there's certain scenarios that if you break your fast, you need to do qada as well as a kafara. Anyone know how much a kafara is? And sisters? 60 fasts. 60 fasts. Yeah, continuous fasting. Okay, there's a hierarchy here. So the first kafara is number one, in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, now there's not around anymore. Number one is you free a slave. So in those days, if you could, so let's say you had to do kafara, number one, you free a slave. And only if you can't do that, you're allowed to go to the second option. This is not a choice where you can choose anyone that you want. You have to go through number one. If you can't do number one, then you do number two. If you can't do number two, then you do number three. Second option is a fast for 60 days consecutively. 60 days consecutively. And if you keep 55 and then you happen to break one, you have to restart all over again. So you start from day one. So 60 fasts consecutively. Yeah.
You've got multiple, you had multiple penalties, with one
Kafara will suffice. Yeah. So if you had many kafaras, let's say you violated the command in many Ramadans, and now you're 30 years old and you regret what you did when you're 16, 17, and 18. So then one kafara will suffice. One kafara will suffice for many Ramadans. Okay, so second is fast for 60 days consecutively. And this even counts. Let's say you've started your kafara and then it's the day of Eid. You can't fast on the day of Eid. So hence, you still have to restart after Eid. So you have to make sure you calculate it beforehand. But if you have to pause fasting, let's say for women, then that's fine. So they don't count as pauses. So that still counts as consecutive. Yeah.
Can you use Ramadan time?
No. Mashallah, thinking like a lawyer. You're the perfect candidate for this course, mashallah. But no, you can't.
Can you choose the time to do the kafara?
Yes.
As in winter and summer.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that's what most people do when it's December these days. You see many people doing kafaras. Okay. So the question is, when does a kafara become necessary? So that's the question. So sometimes you just qada, sometimes kafara. Okay. So let's see. Kafara only becomes necessary when a person breaks the fast, violating the command of Allah to fast in the most complete manner. So I'm going to read that again. So we have to understand every step. If someone hasn't understood each step, then please let me know and I'll go over it again. So let's read it again. Kafara only becomes necessary when a person breaks the fast, violating the command of Allah to fast in the most complete manner. So you have to break Allah's commandment in the most complete manner. Next question is, what do you mean by breaking a complete manner? Okay, so now it's going to be answered. The term a complete manner refers to the outer form of breaking the fast, and secondly, in terms of meaning. So you have to break the fast in a complete manner, and what he means by a complete manner, the outer aspect and also the inner aspect. Now, what's the outer aspect? The substance has to go through the mouth. So if you push food up through your nose, will you have to do kafara? No, because that's not breaking in a complete manner. Yeah. So it has to go through the mouth. Yeah. What I mean by in the way that people enjoy the most. That's what like a complete manner is. Let's say Allah's told us to stop eating, and then I take a birthday cake and I just shove it down my mouth. I've violated Allah's command in the most complete manner, haven't I? I've tasted it, I put it through my mouth, and I've also swallowed it, yeah? But if, let's say, someone says, don't eat, and I take food and I shove it up my nose, yeah? Yes, it's gone through into my body, but have I, like, broken his command in the most complete way possible? That gives me most satisfaction. Have I? No. So yes, although it has entered an orifice of consequence, and it will go to my stomach, it will go through to the throat, but it's not in the most enjoyable way that I've done it. Does that make sense? So this is when kafara becomes necessary. You have to do it in the most enjoyable way. So number one, the outer aspect. Yeah, the outer form, it has to go through where? The mouth. Because shoving food, I haven't tried it, but if you guys have, yeah, I'm assuming it's not so enjoyable. Yeah. And the other orifice of consequence, I don't want to get into that. Yeah. No, shoving food down there, probably not so enjoyable either. Yeah. Okay. So number one, the outer form has to go in through the mouth. That's the most enjoyable way. Okay, now in terms of meaning, what do you mean by that? Now, what about the thing that you're actually putting into your mouth and you're swallowing? Doesn't that, have some consequences? What if you're like eating grass? Have you violated Allah's commandments the most enjoyable way? Unless you're used to eating grass. Some of you guys didn't say anything because you're used to eating grass. Okay, so let's say, imagine I'm talking to people that don't eat grass. Yeah. If you go to your garden and start chewing on grass, yeah, are you gonna enjoy that? Yes, no?
No.
Someone confused. Yeah.
What if you don't like eating salad?
Okay, so I'll come to all the, let's just cover all the basic stuff and I'll come to the difficult stuff. Okay. So number in terms of meaning is referring to what you're actually consuming. So number one, yeah, so there's three options. Either it's for nourishment, it's proper food. You're eating carrots, apples. So salads is a nourishment, isn't it? Yeah. That generally humans eat. So if it's a nourishment, so let's say you're eating a cake. So have you fulfilled the outer form that you're putting inside your mouth? Yes. And have you fulfilled the inner meaning? Yes, it's form of nourishment. So hence, will kafara be necessary? Yes. Okay, now let's take medicinal use. Let's say you take a paracetamol, just a very mild headache, very, very mild. Will kafara become necessary? Yes, as long as it's through the mouth, isn't it? Yeah, if you shove it up your nose, will it become necessary? No. Yes, if you swallow a paracetamol and then without need, then that will also make kafara necessary. So you have to keep 60 fast. Yeah.
So I'm just saying about smoking, for example.
Mm.
That is a kind of satisfaction actually as well. Even though it's going down, it's not a food.
Yep. Letter C,
Okay.
for recreational enjoyment. So does it go through the mouth? Yes. Is it for recreation and enjoyment?
Even though it's bad for you, right?
Yeah. So that will smoking cigarettes make kafara necessary? Yes. Okay. So number one, so just to recap. So for kafara to be necessary, there are two things that need to be found. Meaning you need to break Allah's commandment in the most complete and enjoyable manner. Okay, so for that to actually happen, there are two things that need to be found. Number one, the outer form, which means it needs to go through the mouth. And number two, the inner meaning in terms of the substance that you've actually put into your body through your mouth has to be one of three things, or either of these three things. Either nourishment, like food, or it needs to be medicine, but without need, or it needs to be recreational enjoyment. Okay, so these are three things. If the outer form is found and one of these three things are found, you must do kafara. Okay, now let's go into this a bit more. Now, okay, so with these three things, what kind of things are we excluding? That if you eat it, you won't have to do kafara. So one is obviously grass, which, yeah. Okay, someone eats salt. Like, do people just go into the cupboard and just, it's not very enjoyable, is it? Yeah. So people don't eat salt for nourishment or anything like that. So let's say if you eat loads of salt, you won't have to do kafara. What else?
Are you giving examples or you giving principles there?
This is the principle done.
So grass is not specific.
Grass is an example. Yeah. So if I eat grass, I won't have to do kafara. If I eat tons of salt, I won't have to do kafara. What else? Just give me loads of random examples.
Medicine for a need.
Cardboard.
Medicine for a need. Okay, yeah, correct. Sorry, if you eat card, yes. Stones, pebbles, yes. What else? Sticks, yes. Soil, yes.
I've got to ask this question.
Yeah.
What about drugs? Like you snort some drugs through your nose. Would it fall into that?
Okay, so drugs are up your nose.
Yeah.
Okay, so is the outer form found?
No.
No. So it'll break the fast. Qada will be necessary, but no kafara.
Might be other things involved.
But I think the kafara will be the least of that person's worries.
It's enjoyment. But it doesn't fall into that first category.
Yeah. So both are necessary. Both are necessary. Yeah. But I think someone doing drugs up their nose, I think the kafara is going to be like the least of their worries, isn't it? They've got their whole life to sort out and think about kafara afterwards. No, I'm joking, I'm joking. But yes, these are necessary questions that need to be asked. Yeah.
They can give nourishment. That's not through the mouth, not through the nose, not through the rectum. No, it's all intravenous. But that's still proper food, still nourishment. I
Yeah.
mean, that person should be fasting anyway.
Yeah.
But technically, they could be fasting.
If they really wanted to, yeah. So you won't break the fast.
And anybody taking the illness.
Yeah.
Does that not classify as being ill or sick?
That's what I'm saying. There's no need to fast, but they could potentially fast and they still get the nourishment.
Yeah. So if they did, and technically the fast would be valid. Because they're not eating anything through the orifice or consequence. What about water enters the mouth when swimming? Okay, so you guys answer that. Someone goes swimming and water enters the mouth accidentally and they swallow it. Breaks the fast. So what should we do when we're fasting? What shouldn't we do when we're fasting? Swimming.
Can you
Yes.
argue that's something unavoidable and you go to that situation?
No, because there's no need to go swimming. Yeah.
Like a shower, isn't it? Shower avoidance.
I think you tell us this Ramadan. I'm sure some people don't shower here for a long time. Let's just ask them. So those of you guys have gone without 30 days without showering, how did you feel? Anyone want to own up?
You can do it after dark.
Or shower.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Some of you guys are looking nervous. I was going to ask you guys. And then you okay? You okay? Okay. So let's continue. Okay.
So
Yeah.
kafara is the penalty, yeah. And what do you need to do for it?
So keep 60 fasts consecutively.
And the other one is qada.
Qada. Yeah,
What do you
qada.
do for that?
So that's when let's say you broke your fast and you had a valid reason to break your fast. For that, you just need to keep one fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
First was suffering a slave, second is the 60 days.
60
Third
days.
is the feeding. Is that one feeding?
Yeah. Yeah. So the third one, for let's say if a person is physically unable to keep 60 fasts. So those people literally, let's say, physically unable to. So let's say for those people that they don't really want to because it's very inconvenient, it doesn't apply to them. So this is when you physically do not have the strength to keep 60 fasts. So that could be someone that's extremely weak or very elderly. So someone that's fit and healthy, they're not exempt. So someone that's exempt from from keeping 60 fasts, then you have to feed 60 people, 2 meals a day. So you either take one person and you feed him 2 meals for 60 days. Yeah. So you take one person and you feed him 2 meals for how many days? 60 days. So that'd be a kafara. Or you can just take 60 people in one day and you give them 2 meals. Yeah. So there are 2 ways to do the feeding kafara. You end up feeding the same amount, it's just 2 different ways on how to do it.
Is that the limit to 2 people? You can't take 60 people and do it for one day.
Yeah, that's what I said. So that's the second
Yeah,
scenario.
sorry.
Yeah, I thought I said that.
I thought you said to do 2 people.
Okay, no. The first scenario, you take one person and you feed him 2 meals over 60 days. Second scenario, you get 60 people all in one go and you give them 2 meals.
Has to be the
Yeah.
same 60 people.
No, anyone.
Can be 120 people.
As long as you fed this many meals, 2 meals to,
So you can't do 1 meal to 120.
No, no.
Yeah.
yeah. So basically you're satisfying the needs of at least one person, lunch and dinner, let's say. Yeah.
Oh, for the You know the 60 days where you have to fast consecutively.
Yeah.
Say you're traveling in between. Is that a valid break or not a valid break?
Not a valid break. Yeah. So even when you're traveling, because you can still fast when you're traveling, isn't it?
If you do the down more than one, can you make them up consecutively or you have to use phase?
No, you can do consecutively. Yeah. Ideally, let's say if someone has qadha of Ramadan, they should do it as quickly as possible. So let's say if you couldn't keep 10 fasts, try and do them 10 fasts as quickly as possible. Because we don't know when we're going to die. And good question. Kafara is only for Ramadan fasts. And by the way, this is very important. Kafara is only when you break a Ramadan fast. So kafara is only when you break a Ramadan fast. So let's say if someone doesn't keep a fast anyway, like they didn't even intend to fast, will they have to do kafara? No, it's only when you break a fast. Yeah, that's the difference. Yeah. Specifically Ramadan fast, fard Ramadan fast. So when you break a Ramadan fast, that's when kafara becomes necessary. If you did not keep it to begin with, just let's say for the last 20 years you never fasted because you weren't bothered, would you have to do any kafaras? No, because you didn't keep one in the first place.
And if you can't do the other one?
No, there's no other one.
It's a
Yeah.
broken oath, what do you do?
Okay, so if you're broken old, yeah, good way to put it. Okay, so if yeah,
So you said that you can't do kafara using Ramadan. Can you do a kaza using the kafara if you had to? If you were doing the 16 days, would you also do all of that be a separate?
okay, good question. Yeah, so let me just answer the broken old question. So if someone's broke and they're old and they can't, they then in that particular moment they don't have to give kafara because they can't afford it. So what they do is if they happen to get money, then that's when they become responsible to do it. So if they don't have money, if they don't have anyone to feed, then they're not responsible for the kafara. And when it comes to doing qadha, let's say you broke 5 fast intention in Ramadan. Yeah. So now what you have to do, you have 5 qadhas that you need to do. So you must do 5 qadhas, and the kafara is a penalty separate to the qadhas. So in total, you'll have to keep how many fasts? 65. 5 for the qadhas and 1 penalty, which is 60 fasts.
Yeah, is there a time limit on, so for example, let's say this Ramadan, I have to do video within, this year, or can I do it next year, or whatever?
Okay, fidya, we're coming to fidya, so it's our principle 5, but just to answer your question, no, there's no time limit. As long as you do it before we die, then that's the main thing. Okay, and
Specific type of people that we have to feed, whether Muslim or non-Muslim.
okay, it has to be poor. Whether they have to be Muslim or not, I actually can't remember. I forgot. I haven't checked this. I'll check it and I'll let you know, inshallah.
Sorry, someone that didn't fast in the past, yeah? How do they correct that?
Someone, okay, yeah. So if someone didn't fast in the past, they just need to do qadhas.
Yeah.
So let's say they missed, let's say 5 Ramadans. So that would be how many fast? 30 times 5 is 150 fasts. Yeah, so let's say someone missed, let's say 5 Ramadans, for example. So that's 30 fasts per Ramadan, isn't it? Yeah. So they just have to space it out and just keep those fasts however they can. Generally what people do, let's say it's a sunnah fast on Mondays and Thursdays. The Prophet used to fast. So fast on Mondays and Thursdays, but make intention of qadha. So you get rewards of both. You get rewards of qadha and you also get rewards of keeping a sunnah fast as well. So that's how people generally make them up if people have many qadhas to do. Yeah, does that answer the question?
Yeah, that's
Okay, and okay, so someone just asked me to clarify the steps of qadha. So number 1 is that you must fast for 60 days consecutively. And if you break one, then you have to restart. You have to restart the kafara. And if someone is too weak to do that, to physically unable to, then what you need to do is you need to feed 60 people 2 meals. So you can either feed one person for 2 meals over 60 days, or you can take 60 people and feed them 2 meals in 1 day. So these are the 2 options that you have for kafara. And what's the difference between qadha and kafara? Qadha is just when you break one fast, you keep another fast in its place. Kafara is a punishment. So kafara is called a penalty. So if you break your fast and you didn't have a valid reason to do so, you need to do qada, keep that one fast that you broke, and you also need to do the penalty, which is 60 fasts. And what if we don't know how many qada fasts that we have? Then what you do, so if you don't know how many qada fasts you do, you're trying to figure out how much. So let's say you're thinking you've got about 100 qada fasts, for example. And to be on the safe side, just add 20 to that. Just do 120. You got nothing to lose out by doing extra. So then you make it into, you start to keep 120 qada fasts, and you can space them out, do Mondays and Thursdays, for example. And anything extra that you do, they become nafil fasts anyway. So, as believers, it's good that we're supposed to have a habit of doing nafil fast. The Prophet used to fast every Monday and Thursdays. We generally fast on the 13th, 14th, and 15th of every month as well, according to the lunar calendar. So if you do extra qada, they just become nafils anyway. So is it 60 days per one Ramadan fast? So if you break 5 Ramadan. Okay, no. So like we said, the kafara is if you've delivered without an excuse, you broke a fast in multiple Ramadans. Yeah. Let's say for 5 years, you've been breaking Ramadan fast without a valid reason. So how many kafaras will you need to do at the end of 5 years? Everyone? Just one kafara, yeah? So online guys, you'll just have to do one kafara. Yeah, just one kafara, which is 60 fasts. But let's say after you do your kafara, next Ramadan, you break another fast again without valid excuse, you have to redo that kafara, isn't it? Because that's a new kafara, yeah? Well, that's, yes, in that specific scenario, yes. Because the kafara is to expiate what you've done previously. So when you break your new fast again, then the previous kafara won't count with it, yeah? Yeah.
You know when you said if you haven't fasted for 5 years, that would have been deliberately. So if you just do 60, that would cover that.
But remember, I said is if someone didn't keep the fast to begin with, they haven't broken any fasts. They haven't kept a fast. They haven't broken the fast. Yeah. So kafara only becomes necessary when you break a fast.
When you intend to.
Yes, when you intended to fast, and then you broke it. Yeah, without an excuse. But if someone said, you know what, I don't feel like fasting tomorrow, you go away with it.
So what about if somebody's unsure? If they've broken it or not?
Then, because this is worship, and with worship, the principle in worship is we always take the precautionary side. So that is the principle related to worship. So let's say if we're not sure if we've broken it or not, where would the precaution be in this case? To just assume we broke it, and then to do qada. Yeah. But kafara, because this is a penalty, yeah. So the principle related to kafara, that only becomes applicable when we're sure we broke the fast in an invalid manner. Does that make sense? So general rule when it comes to the general principle when it comes to precaution is the general principle when it comes to worship is we take the side of precaution. One simple example, I'm not sure whether my salah was correct or not. What would be precaution here? To repeat the salah. Yeah. So this is what we call precaution in matters of worship. When it comes to kafara, it's not precaution. It's, am I certain that I broke violated Allah's commandments? So in kafara, you look towards certainty. So if you're not sure, we assume, you know what, you go away with it. Yeah. So you have to be certain for kafara. Does that make sense? So two different principles at play here.
For the example I was going to give, I don't know, I might have broken one when I was 13 years old, all that years ago. I might have done maybe.
Yeah. So in that case, you go away with it. Yeah. So basically,
or should you just do the 60 just in case it comes all of your doubts for the last 30 years?
Personally, I would just keep a kafara.
Yeah.
But according to the rule, if you're not sure, then you don't have to. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions related to this? Yeah.
I briefly saw it. They mentioned kafara is the same as zakat, basically.
Kafara is the same.
It's the same rules as zakat.
I think so, but I'm not. I'll have to double check. Yeah, I'll have to double check that. So I don't want to say something I'm not sure about. And I'm not sure if the Prophet fasted on his birthday or not.
What is that?
Someone asked. I'm not sure.
You celebrated it.
Oh, on Monday. Yeah, but his birthday would have been Monday in the year, would it?
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah. Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, he fasted in the birthday was in Monday.
Yeah.
4 months, as you 4 months there, right?
Okay, and what the punishment for not fasting? I'm not sure if I recall any specific punishment. Anyone know any specific punishment for fasting, not fasting? But the main thing is that, like, this relates to the principles of Islam. Like the Prophet said, the foundations of Islam are 5, isn't it? One is shahada, then salah, and then fasting.
I mean, the benefits are from let's talk about fasting is unknown. Because it's for unless I'm guessing the punishment will be
Yeah. Yeah, so it depends on so let's say fasting is one of the foundations of religion. So when you go against something which is foundational, so the sin is proportionate to the importance of the command, isn't it? So now here, there's not many specific punishments mentioned, but we can understand the severity of based on the importance of what we've just broken, isn't it? So not fasting is one of the foundations of Islam. So when someone breaks the fast, they've broken literally a foundation of Islam. So hence the punishment we can imagine would be extremely severe, more than like swearing or backbiting or even drinking alcohol, because like fasting has like staying away from alcohol is bad, but it's not a foundation of the religion. These are subsidiary things. Doing drugs is bad, but it's not a foundation of the religion. Whereas fasting is a foundation of the religion. So the sin of that would be much more severe than doing anything else, not fasting. So in terms of qada, so I think you must have missed the first when we were discussing qada. So qada, so QADA, if that's what you're referring to. Qada just means that if you break a fast and you had a valid reason to do so, then you just need to keep one fast in its place. That's all qada is. So let's say I was ill one day and I didn't fast. After Ramadan, I just keep that one fast again. That's all qada is. Kafara is a punishment, whereas if you broke the fast and you did not have a valid reason to do so, let's say you just felt hungry and just wanted to eat for the sake of it. So hence after that, you'll have to do a qada because you broke a fast, and you'll also have to do a punishment, which is fast for 60 days. But if you still didn't get it, what you just do after the lesson, just recap the video from the beginning when we discussed the qada and kafara. Okay. Okay, let's continue. So let's look at, I think it's 4:45. Okay, so let's look at the note here. Okay, or it's the one, yeah. Okay, so yeah, so that's what I clarified with them in the beginning. So for the sisters, when they can't fast, then that's not seen as a discontinuity. So let's say they can't fast for 10 days, for example, then they don't fast for those 10 days, and they can just recontinue after the 10 days. Yeah, but these are natural, which can't be avoided. Okay, or for someone to feel, okay, so kafara is either by eating something or by fulfilling your desires. Yeah, and again, that's done in when your desires are fulfilled in the most complete way, when between two married people, then that's when someone fulfilling desires there. Okay, I hope not. Okay, it's getting worried there. Okay. Yeah, so when two married people, they fulfill their desires in the most complete way, that's when kafara becomes necessary. Does that make sense, everyone? Yeah. So, but if it's done in an incomplete way, yes, I don't go into too much detail. So let's say if it's done, not between, not with your spouse or something like that. So they fulfill the desires, but not with their spouse, then that's fulfilling desires, but it's not in the complete way. So hence only qada will become necessary. Only qada will become necessary, not kafara. Does that make sense, everyone? Yeah.
I thought you meant that we don't complete, that's not complete way.
Okay, so even when the desires have been satisfied, which is after emission, yeah. So, but if it's not done with one's partner in the complete manner, then even qada is only necessary. Yeah. So only qada is necessary. Does that make sense, everyone? Yeah. So only when the act is done between the husband and wife and is done in the most complete manner. Yeah. That's when a kafara becomes necessary. But if it's not done in that way or in any other way, only qada is necessary.
Just to understand.
Yeah.
If you were and you think that is happening.
Yeah.
With that, so it hasn't been completed. Does that scenario then Does that fulfill that scenario?
Okay, so kafara only becomes necessary once emission takes place, when one releases the emission. Yeah, that's when kafara takes place. But if someone stops before that, then kafara is not necessary. But between a two married couple, as soon as the act takes place, even if there's no emission or not, the kafara becomes necessary. Does that make sense, everyone? Sister, does that make sense?
Sorry, I don't
Yeah.
want to confuse you, but what's the difference
You don't
again between qada and kafara?
Okay, qada is, let's say I'm ill today and I'm very ill and I can't fast at all.
Yeah.
So I break my fast. Yeah. So now after Ramadan ends, what do I need to do?
Was it intentional, was it?
No, I was very ill, so I had to break my fast. I had to take medicine. So after Ramadan, what do I need to do?
Feed the poor, I don't know.
No, so after Ramadan, so because did I have a valid reason to break my fast? I was extremely ill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I had a valid reason, all I have to do is just keep one fast afterwards.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So qada just means to make up for it by keeping another fast.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Kafara, on the other hand, is when I don't have a valid excuse. I just don't feel like fasting anymore. And you know what? I feel like breaking it now. Yeah. So do I have a valid reason to break my fast? No. So now Allah will make me do a penalty now.
Yeah.
So just by keeping one fast is not going to be enough. Does that make sense? 60 days. Yeah.
Wow.
So I have to keep that one fast anyway that I broke. On top of that, I have to do 60 days as a punishment. So I'll have to keep 61 basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just yeah.
No, if you've got the if you had a wet dream,
Yeah.
and then you've woken up and it's time to support,
Mm.
and you haven't had chance to be woken, and you start your fast.
Mm.
Is it that's accepted? And then you do your shower afterwards.
Okay, yes. Yeah. So being in a state of major impurity does not break the fast. Does not break the fast. So starting a fast in a state of major impurity does not break the fast. So that's fine. Even if, let's say, for argument's sake, if someone spent the whole day in major impurity, so they missed all their salahs and spent the whole day in major impurity, they only took a ghusl or shower just before iftar or even after iftar, the fast is still valid. Yes, it's makruh because you've been in the state of major impurity, you missed all your salahs, your fast is makruh, but it's valid.
And if you went to sleep while you fast, and then that happened, that won't break the fast.
No. Yeah. So having a wet dream or remaining in the state of major impurity does not break the fast, does not invalidate the fast. Yeah. And so just to be very clear, so kafara only becomes necessary between a husband and wife when they actually do the act. Yeah. So when the act takes place and in the most complete manner, even if there's no emission. So just that mere act makes kafara necessary. And then fulfilling one's desires without that, even individually or in any other way, it only makes qada necessary. Does that make sense? Is that very clear? Okay, let's move on. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's look at some of the notes here. This is very important. The person must have made the intention to fast from the previous night for kafara to be necessary. This is a key here. Yeah. So if let's say you were from our last week's session, when can you intend to fast? What was the cutoff point? Midday, good, yeah. So if someone only intended to fast, let's say in the morning, and then afterwards they broke it, they won't have to do kafara. For kafara to be necessary, you need to have made intention from the night before. So
That probably before Fajr starts.
Before Fajr starts, yeah. Yeah. So if you only intend to fast after Fajr, there's no kafara.
The previous night, so before Fajr, it's still the previous night.
Yeah. Fajr is the morning, isn't it?
Yes.
And so before the morning, it's the night. Yeah. So if Fajr hasn't started yet, it's still nighttime.
It's like a little bit of a loophole, isn't it?
Okay, and I'll tell you why this is. Okay, whenever there's a difference of opinion within the other schools whether kafara will be necessary or not, then we basically, because when it comes to kafara, what we try and do is we try and say kafara is not necessary. Yeah. So because we only establish kafara when we have absolute certainty that you need to do kafara. Everyone remember that principle? Yeah. So you will only establish kafara when we have absolute certainty that you must do kafara. Does that make sense? Okay. Now in the other schools, the Shafi school, the Hanbali school, and the Maliki school, according to their school, a person, for the fast to be valid, they must make intention in the night. So for them, if someone makes intention after Fajr, the fast is not even valid. So according to these three schools, if someone made intention to fast after Fajr and they broke it afterwards, will they need to do kafara? No, because for them the fast isn't even valid, isn't it? Yeah. So hence they won't have to do kafara. So now here there's a doubt here, even in us. So now, how do you know who's right and who's wrong? We don't know for sure. So now, in our case, whether I have to do kafara or not, there's a slight doubt now, isn't it? Because the other three schools, they disagree with me. They say no, there's no kafara necessary, and I'm the Hanafi who's saying no, kafara is necessary. But there's still doubt here, isn't it? And what we said, remember the principle related to kafara? Whenever there's a doubt in kafara being necessary or not, we abandon kafara. Does that make sense? So that's why this ruling applies. Yeah.
The question I had was obviously, when you do kafara, if you intended to fast in the first place,
yeah,
and kafara is only valid for Ramadan.
Yes.
So if you intended not to fast for Ramadan, then you don't have to make kafara. But there's obviously a punishment for not fasting.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
What's that punishment? No.
Yeah, that's what we discussed before. Yeah. Did I just give you ideas?
I think I'm just weighing up the two.
Okay. So whenever there's a doubt, even within other schools, whether kafara is necessary or not, that is enough to say kafara is not necessary. Everyone got that? Okay. There's another scenario this applies as well. There's another scenario. Yeah. According to the school of Imam, and this is the benefit of knowing other schools, by the way. Yeah. Sometimes thinking we're just Hanafis, we don't need to know. Why do we need to know about other schools? But knowing the other schools gives us a great understanding. Yeah. That's what generally when I teach fiqh, I teach the Hanafi school as a primarily the main school, because that's what I follow. That's what generally we all follow. But whenever necessary, also give opinions from the other schools, because it makes our lives a lot easier, and it's good to know the other schools as well. Okay. So now another scenario. Yeah.
I forgot my stuff in the lady section.
Where can you? Is your shoes over there?
Yeah.
Just go through the back and just. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So what was I saying? Okay. So in the Hanbali school, yeah. According to the three schools, the Hanafi school, the Maliki school, and the Shafi school. Yeah. So remember, I think we briefly discussed it last week, I think. So if you start the day in your house and you intend to travel, let's say intend to travel to Manchester later on in the day, do you have to fast that day? Okay, let me just rephrase that. Let me just reiterate that question again. So let's say it's Ramadan tomorrow. Yeah. So I plan to travel to Manchester at, let's say, 3 p.m. I'm going to go to Manchester at 3 p.m. It's a very long distance. So hence it's a distance which is called a safar in Sharia. Yeah. We have to pray 2 rakats. Now the question is, do I have to fast tomorrow? So I'm going to be traveling at 3 p.m.
Then you have to intend to keep the fast, and whilst you're traveling, then it becomes difficult, then you can break fast. Or until you're traveling, you have to fast. And when you start traveling, then you can break fast.
Okay.
At what point are you a traveler? Are you a traveler at 3 p.m. or are you a traveler at Fajr?
Okay, so yeah, so I start the day in my house and I intend to travel at 3 p.m. So at 3 p.m. I'm going to leave my house and head for Manchester.
The definition of being a traveler, is that 3 o'clock, or is that the question as your intention?
Okay, so the definition of you only become a traveler once you leave the boundary of your city.
Okay, you're not a traveler up to 3 o'clock.
No. So let's say you're going to be a traveler by 3:15. It's going to take 15 minutes to leave Medway. So do I need to fast tomorrow?
You do, because you might change your plans.
Just keep the intention.
Yeah, you're not a traveler. Technically, you're not a traveler.
And online guys, I want to hear what you have to say as well. Feel free to write your question in the chat.
Breaking your fast at 9, 10 o'clock, so you know that the majority of the day you're going to be.
Okay.
At home.
No, at 3 o'clock. Kind of.
Yeah, but you're not a traveler though. Technically, you're not.
And if you write yes or no, just write what you mean by that. So just write yes, he has to keep it fast. No, he doesn't have to keep it fast. Just so I can be sure. Sisters, what do you think?
Yes, you need to fast.
And other sisters? Brothers, what do you think?
Some yes, some no.
I'm saying yes, no. Yeah.
I'm thinking no.
I think you said no last week. I think you said no last week. So I'm gonna go with that.
Anyone else from not nine? I think we've had about 2 or 3 responses. If you're not sure, say you're not sure. So that'll at least show me that you're alive.
I'm sure.
Okay, so let's look at this. Remember, we need to put a jurist hats on. Okay, so now for Ramadan. Okay, so let's see how we can look at this.
Oh, this is on the board.
Okay. Okay, so let's look at this. This is how we understand this. Yeah, this is how we understand this. Okay, so every night of Ramadan, I think someone mentioned it before. Every single night of Ramadan, I need to make an intention that I am fasting. I need to know in my heart that I'm fasting the next day. Yeah. If I don't have an intention in my heart that I think to myself, I'm not fasting, will my fast for tomorrow count? No, it won't. So basically, intention is something that has to be made every night. Does that make sense so far? Yeah. And then soon as Fajr time starts, the command comes down to every person who is healthy, who is not a traveler, to fast. And if I'm one of these people who's an adult, who's healthy, do I need to fast? Everyone? Yes. So now let's say tomorrow comes at Fajr time. I'm in my house. I'm a resident. I'm healthy. I'm an adult. So when the command comes down to fast, does it come upon me as well? Yeah. So what must I do now? I must fast. Now, but I have plans to travel at 3 p.m. But my future plans do not make a difference to my situation right now. Yeah, that's why once the command to fast has come down, I must keep that fast. And so according to the 3 schools, the Hanafi school, the Maliki school, and the Shafi'i school, even if you travel later on in the day, you must still keep that fast of that day. Does that make sense, everyone? Yeah. And the only time you'll be permitted to break your fast is due to extreme necessity. When, let's say, if you don't eat or drink something, you won't be able to continue with your travels. For example, you're going to pass out, or you're just gonna you can't do anything basically. So hence, basically, normal extreme scenario. Does that make sense, everyone?
So when you become a traveler at 3:15,
yeah,
then you still have to continue your fast.
Yes. Yes.
Did you say you become a traveler when I leave the midway?
Yeah, midway for us.
It's nothing to do with the number of hours or distance or anything.
Okay.
It's just the midway.
Okay, so when
Answer this question. It's big city. It takes you half an hour to leave the city of London.
Yeah.
To start from, so the intention is to go past the city. Is it from when you leave the house or when you leave the
Okay, so let me explain how you become a musafir in the Sharia. So now this is slightly going off topic, but it's related as well. Okay, so how do you become musafir in the Sharia? How do you become a traveler? So it's once you leave the boundary of your city. So a person, even before that. So when you have to intend to travel for 48 miles or more. Yeah. So that's the you have to intend to travel for 48 miles or more. But so let's say if you only intend to travel to, let's say, somewhere 20 miles away, then you're not going to become a traveler. Yeah, or musafir. So you have to intend to travel 48 miles or more. And now after that, once you leave the boundary of your city with the intention to travel for 48 miles, then sooner as you've left the boundary of your city, you have become a traveler. So now soon, let's say for us, it's Medway. And generally when we say city, it's when your basic necessities are found. So let's say for London, I would say it's not the entire London. It'd be like the borough. That's within that borough, you have your basic necessities, isn't it, of that you need in your life. So that's how the scholars in the past defined it. The area which meets your basic necessities. For us, it's Medway. So for us, it's not the entire Kent, it's Medway. That's where all of our basic necessities are found. So for London, be the borough, for us, it's Medway. So once you leave that area, you now become a traveler. Now let's say Dhuhr time on the way, you can stop at a service station, do 2 rakats of Dhuhr Salah and 2 rakats of Asr Salah, for example. But you need to have left with an intention of traveling for 48 miles.
Well, why is that 48 miles? Because then obviously in the kind of public, traveling 48 miles on a camel is different than jumping in a helicopter.
Yeah. Okay, the reason is, So again, this is going off topic now. So it's not related to fasting. So we're going to try and bring it back as quickly as we can because our time's running out. But the answer to that is the hadith is this. The Prophet said that whenever a person who travels for 3 days and 3 nights is basically a traveler. Yeah. So that's what he stipulated. The traveling of 3 days and 3 nights. Now for them, they're traveling of 3 days and 3 nights. So now the question is, how much distance would they have traveled over 3 days and 3 nights of traveling? Yeah, so that's the question here. So the Prophet did not actually mean by this literally 3 days of traveling and 3 nights of traveling. Nowadays you can go from the world and back in 3 days. Yeah. So what he actually meant was the distance of 3 days and 3 nights. So now what the scholars of the past did, they traveled for 3 days and 3 nights and they saw how much they would have actually traveled in those days. So that would include, let's say they used to sleep when the sun was right at its peak. That includes the sleeping time in the night time, and generally on average how much they would travel. So so there is a difference of opinion how many miles, but generally the Hanafi school, they go with 48 miles or 54 miles. So I generally go with the 48 miles. Yeah.
Sorry, you may have heard I heard obviously I originally, with my understanding, was the distance, and then I went for some talk, and I was like, when you're outside of the security of your town, so that might only be 1 or 2 miles. You're outside of security. And I was saying that Sahabas, as soon as they left Mecca, they were outside the security, and that's when they became travelers. So
yeah. So what I said was, so here it's referring to when you leave the boundary of your city. What the reason why I say boundary of a city, the jurists define this as the area which your basic necessities are fulfilled, and that's so I can see that's what they would mean by security. These are like in my own town, I know where my post office is, I know where my hospital is. This is when you're in a different town, you're kind of like a foreigner there. Where is everything? Yeah. So what it means by the area which your basic necessities are fulfilled. So for us, it's Medway. This is where basic necessities are fulfilled, and for let's say in London, be the borough. So once you leave that borough, then you become a musafir. Yeah.
And then the 40.
So you need to, so you become a musafir once you intend to travel for 48 miles or more.
This is what I'm saying. So that's outside of your security, the boundaries, or the necessities.
Yeah.
You're still not a traveler.
Okay. So the key here is to intend to travel. So when you intend to travel 48 miles or more, as soon as so let's say I'm going from here to Manchester, yeah? So as soon as I leave the boundary of my city, I become a traveler now. I can start shortening my prayers. Yeah.
I know you clarified that, but saying that they measured it, when they measured it by foot ticket, the 48 miles.
Yeah.
3 days and 3 nights.
Yeah, so it'll be a mixture of camel,
that's a different scale. That's my point. That's a different scale of what we have today. So if they were to redo it, that same test now,
they have done it
in their Ford or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Then that 3 days, 3 nights might get you to Scotland.
Yeah. So so the purpose is, let's say when the Prophet said this hadith of traveling for 3 days and 3 nights, what did he have in mind? What distance did he have in mind when he said that hadith? So that's what we need to try and calculate.
Do we know what he had in mind?
Yeah. So what scholars did afterwards was that basically they traveled for 3 days and 3 nights according to how they would have traveled, some by foot, some by camel, sleeping into those times where they would have slept, and then they saw how much distance can we travel, and it came around to about 48 miles.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, going off topic, but that nobody travels by camel anymore, or no one travels 3 days by night by walking as well. So it's almost not relevant anymore.
No, because it depends. So the Prophet is the purpose of this hadith is to give us a certain distance that we can travel and we can't travel, isn't it? Yeah. So when the Prophet said you can't travel 3 days and 3 nights, what distance did he have in mind? So that distance, whether it was 1,000 years ago until today, that distance was the same. Just the means of transport is different now. So that distance that they covered in 3 days and 3 nights, we can do that in 2 hours. But the distance is the thing that the Prophet is referring to. So if say in those days 48 miles existed, then the Prophet would have just said 48 miles, don't travel for that much. But they didn't calculate things like that. So they calculate in terms of days and thingy. So it's not the method that we're concerned with, it's the amount of distance that the Prophet had in mind.
Measured in those metrics of that.
Yeah.
To give us that ease.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the thing here. Yeah.
So again, it's maybe off topic, but the 48 miles there and back, or is it just there?
One way.
One way.
Yeah, one way.
When you come back, you actually.
That's the new 48 miles. Yeah.
Is that 48 miles on your mileage?
Yes, yeah.
As opposed to not a pro.
Okay, good question. Yeah, so it's not a straight line, it's about how much you actually travel. So let's say from point A to B, there's one road that takes you in 47 miles, another road that takes you in 50 miles. So it depends on which one you travel. If you travel for 50 miles, take the longer route, you're a traveler. If you take the shorter route, you're not a traveler.
Yeah. And it always is 48 miles on your clock when you play the band.
Okay. Okay, so let's just okay. Okay, so going back to what we were actually initially discussing is in the Hanbali school, is when a person starts their fast later. No, sorry. So going back to our scenario, we're traveling to Manchester tomorrow. I'm leaving my house at 3 p.m. According to the Hanbali school, after you start traveling, you're no longer required to fast. If you want to break your fast, you can break your fast. This is only according to the Hanbali school. Yes. So now when someone, let's say I leave my house at 3 p.m. and after about 2 hours while driving, I'm feeling tired, I need a coffee. According to the Hanbali school, can I break my fast? Yes. Now, after I've drank some coffee, will I need to do kafara? No. Yes. I don't have to do kafara because according to them, I can break it. So the Hanbali school says no kafara. But the Hanafi school said, and the Maliki and the Shafi, just to put it into perspective, yeah, the majority, is according to us, did we still need to fast? Yes. So now that I've broken my fast, well, technically it's not a life or death situation. I could have easy, just a bit of inconvenience. So hence, I drank coffee intentionally without need. Will I have to do kafara according to the Hanafi school? Yes. Yes. And the Shafi school and the Malik. Okay, let's just stick to the Hanafi. According to Hanafi school, I have to do kafara. But Hanbali school is saying I don't need to kafara. Now, has this put doubt on our kafara now? Yeah? Has this put doubt on our kafara? A valid school is saying there's no kafara. So whenever there's doubt, there's kafara, what will happen? Do I need to implement it? No, I don't need to implement it. Yeah? I just have to do qada. I have to keep one fast in this place.
Then you're not then choosing between picking
Okay, no, I'm not. Because if I was picking and choosing, because in the Hanafi school, it's still not allowed. It's just there's different principles at play here. The principle regarding kafara within the Hanafi school is wherever there's doubt whether the kafara can be established or not, whenever there's a doubt, you don't establish the kafara. That is a principle within the Hanafi school. Yeah. So, and that doubt extends to even within other schools. So if the other schools are saying there's no kafara necessary, that puts a doubt on our kafara.
That's you've got that between different issues for.
Yeah, across the board. So even when it came to, and the reason is because kafara is a punishment and it's a penalty. And we don't want to implement penalties on people, even on our own selves. So wherever we can remove penalties from ourselves, we remove penalties. That's like the mindset of the Sharia. Like, for example, a woman came to the Prophet ﷺ and she said to the Prophet ﷺ, "O Messenger of Allah, I've done zina. I've done zina." What did the Prophet do? He turned away, pretended he didn't hear it. Why? Because for zina to be established, you need 4 witnesses, isn't it? Yeah. To catch you in the act. There's no 4 witnesses giving testimony here. So hence it's only one person. So the Prophet, he tried to stay away from executing kafara. This is also called a kafara, yeah? Or hudud, yeah? Upon her. So the Prophet turned away from her. And then she came to me from the other side. "Oh, Prophet, Messenger of Allah, I've committed zina." And again, the Prophet turned away from her. So basic kafara is, as much as we can, we try and, if there's slight doubt, because the doubt here is there's no 4 witnesses that are testifying to this. So hence there's a slight doubt to it. So the Prophet tried to turn away, yeah? So in kafara, if there's slight doubt, we try and turn away from it. Does that make sense? So even if the doubt is coming from within our school or coming from external to our school, because Islam is not restricted to our school, is it? Yeah, it could be that the Hanafi fiqh could actually be wrong here, and the truth could be with the Hanbali school. We don't know this for sure, isn't it? Yeah, that's why. Does that make sense, everyone? Any questions related to kafara? Okay, so let's look at this. There's some important notes here about kafara. Okay, so the person must have made the intention to fast from the previous night for kafara to be necessary. We understand that why, yeah? Because in other 3 schools, the fast won't be valid if you make intention from the morning. Number 2, accidentally or mistakenly consuming something is not a complete manner of violating the fast. Yeah, so let's say in our case where you accidentally ate something, so not accidentally water went down your throat. Yeah, so now will Allah punish me for that? No, he won't. Yeah. So hence only one qada is necessary. So when you're doing wudu, water accidentally passes down your throat, only one qada is necessary. So if you accidentally break your fast, kafara not necessary. And point number 3, kafara not be necessary in cases where it was permissible to break the fast according to another school of thought. Yeah. Any questions on kafara? Yep. Yep. Okay, very good question. If someone, sound like Dr. Zakir, thanks, isn't it? Sister asked the very good question. It's done in a chapter number, so okay. So if someone accidentally broke their fast, it's wajib for them to refrain from eating for the remainder of the day due to the sanctity of the month. Not because the fast will be valid. No, it won't be valid. They're broken it. But because of how sanctified the month is, it's openly rebelling against Allah. I know it's Ramadan. I don't know one can eat, but you know what? I'm eating. Yeah. So it's wajib to abstain from the fast.
So
Yeah.
it's sinful if you actually-
Yes, you'll still be sinful. So you still have to. Yes, and you still have to do qada as well. Yeah.
Make sure you drink along while you're breaking it.
Okay. And the same rule applies. Let's say if someone started the fast and they were in their menses, yeah, and let's say at 3 p.m. it finished, yeah. Actually, no, the other way around. The other way around. Yeah. So, yeah. So no, yeah. So they kept their fast as normal. Yeah, they kept the fast normal. 3 p.m. the menses started. Yeah. So hence they still have to refrain from eating and drinking for the remainder of that day because of the sanctity of that month. Because the initial command for them was to fast, isn't it? Yeah. Now the next day, yeah. Now when the command, remember, when does the command to fast come down at? What time? Fajr time. Now the next day when they're in their menses, when the command comes down, will it come down to them? No, because they're in their menses. So hence that day, can they eat and drink? Yes, they can. Yeah. So they can enjoy themselves, they can go out to restaurants, they can do whatever they want. Yeah.
Do they have to make up the fast on the day it started?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, because the command came down.
They shouldn't go out to restaurants, should they? They should be out in the, should be eating open.
Probably bet not to, but no one can say they're not be punishable for it. Yeah.
That's how you talking about the last principle about the sanctity of the month.
They said we shouldn't really be eating openly about
Yeah.
everyone else is fine.
Yeah, that's more to do with like modesty and kind of thing, but not to do with like sinful, not sinful. Okay, one second, I've got a question online. So you need a new intention for each night? Yes, you do. Remember, like I said last week, intention is knowing that you're fasting tomorrow. That's all the intention is.
That's why I was asking you last week. You can't have any intention. I'm going to fast the whole month. I'm going to be fasting the whole month. You should. I know it's not. You don't have to openly speak it. But you should be having that intention sort of daily.
Yes, every night. Yeah, you need to know that you're fasting the next day.
Yeah. So you shouldn't. I'm fasting for the month of Ramadan.
We have that anyway. Like naturally, when Ramadan comes, it's going to be in my mind. I'm going to fast the whole month. Like it's not in my mind. You know what? I'm going to skip a few days. Yeah.
But still, you should. I know that again. You're not verbally doing it.
Yeah.
But daily you should be doing it.
Yeah, daily, but it's just knowing, you know what, I'm fasting the next day. That's all it is, which is a natural occurrence anyway. Aren't you able to make one intention from the beginning of Ramadan? No. Okay, yeah. So you need to make intention. So you need to know that you're fasting every night for the next day. Traveling to Morocco in Ramadan, bi'idhnillah, mashallah. Bring me back something. At what time do we break? At what time do we break? Since there's a 1 hour difference. Do we break? Okay, mashallah. This is a very important question. Do we break at the time of Morocco's Maghrib? And what generally applies when traveling with fasting and breaking? Okay, there's a very important question here. It's not on the screen. On the miscellaneous questions. There you go. Question number 1. So I don't have it for the online guys. I'll just read it out. Okay, question number 1, miscellaneous questions. If you are in a flight and for the people directly below you on the ground, the sun has set. Yeah. But for you in the plane, you can still see the sun. And it has not set for you. So can you start breaking your fast like the people below you?
Burj Khalifa, I noticed that they know that they got a different iftar time up from the bottom to the top. In fact, you can actually get in the lift and see the sunset twice. That's seen.
Okay. Yeah. So the Prophet ﷺ said, "Sumu li ru'yatihi wa aftiru li ru'yatihi." Fast when you see it and break your fast when you see it. Yeah. So seeing is very important. Yeah. Especially when you can. So now, okay, let's take the example when bottom floor of the hotel, for them, the sun has set. So they start breaking their fast. You're on the top floor. You can still see the sun. It's right in front of your eyes. Can you break your fast now? No, you can't.
Can you make
Yeah.
it easy for yourself? You're at the top.
Mm.
And then can you like, or should you, let's say you started your fast.
Yeah.
Again, should it be the same location? What's the
Okay, so you break your fast according to when the sun has set, and that depends on your location currently. Yeah. So if you're on the top floor, for you has the sun set? No, the sun has not set. But what if you just went down to the bottom floor? Has sunset for you? Yes. So if you go down to the bottom floor, you can do iftar. Yeah. Yeah.
So, just on that point, when you talk about sunset, could you just clarify what do you mean by sunset? Because, I think from some of the youngsters probably here, your sunset means you can't see it at all, right? But from what I understand, Maghrib namaz starts even the slightest sun is setting in the horizon, but you still can see the sun. The Maghrib namaz is starting, therefore you can break your fast.
Okay, no, sunset, what we mean by sunset is when the sun has completely gone below the horizon. Yeah,
Right.
that's when Maghrib time starts. So because generally, so imagine like let's say this line is the horizon here, this is the sun. It slowly starts to go beneath the horizon, isn't it? Only when it's fully gone below, that's when Maghrib has started.
There's no light.
No, even when it's below the horizon, because the sun is so powerful, it's still very light. It's still very light. Yeah. Only when it's gone very completely below, that's when we can't see any of its light.
Right.
Yeah. So Maghrib only starts when the sun has completely gone below the horizon. Yeah. So now going back to the Morocco question is, so now when you're on a plane, you have to do iftar according to your current location. So generally, sometimes they have it on screens when the sunset is in your location, or basically look out the window when you can't see the sun. That's when you can do iftar. Yeah. So it's not about, let's say you can't follow England's timing. So sometimes what people do, they check the iftar time in England, and then on their flight to India, yeah, and they do iftar according to England time. That's wrong. Yeah. So you have to break the fast according to the time period that you're in. Yeah, according to your sunset time wherever you are. And next lesson, will I be able to go through any evidences? Yes, inshallah, whatever evidences you know. So in our actual fiqh class, when we do it, inshallah. So if you have any specific questions in mind in terms of evidences, let me know and I'll go through all the evidences with you, inshallah. We'll clarify that in our fiqh class.
Sorry, can I ask you
Okay,
one
good.
more question? I know I've asked you so many questions, but can I just ask that in terms of even praying on the, because we're in a different
so
country.
you can't break the fast. So only for sunset, sun has to go down according to where you are.
You'd be following
Okay.
Unlucky.
but they're traveling anyway, so they're generally fasting.
Depends if they left midday.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Okay, let's quickly finish off these principles. We need to get these done. Okay. So has everyone answered the kafara fully? Everyone? Okay. Okay, now let's quickly go through who does not have to fast. Okay. So number one, ill health. So if you're not healthy enough, the person will be unable to perform normal day-to-day tasks if they were to fast, or it will cause harm to their health. Okay, so they're basically you'd be like bedridden. Yeah. So you won't be able to go to the shops, you won't be able to pick up the kids, you just have to be lying down in bed. So that's the sort of ill health we're talking about. So not like mere headaches, or I'm gonna get a migraine if I fast, and you know what, I'm not gonna be in a good mood the whole day. Yeah, I've had that as well. I'm not gonna be in a good mood. So hence do I have to fast? Yeah. Yes, you still have to fast. Yeah. So it's literally talking about bed bound, that sort of thing. It's me lying down all day. You don't have energy to do anything that you need to be doing as a person. Yeah. So that's the ill health that we're talking about. Or sometimes people have a lot of medication, and this is very important, especially the elderly, that you can't get them to not fast. Like they might, they've got so many health problems, and the doctors are telling them that you cannot fast. It's very detrimental to you, but they're still adamant on fasting. Here, it's actually a sin. It's a sin to fast if it will harm your health. Because here to preserve our health is more important than fasting. So now if by fasting it's going to my health will deteriorate even further, I will be sinful for causing harm to my body. There I must not fast, and I must eat and drink to keep myself more healthy. Does that make sense, everyone? So this is when it comes to ill health. Okay, number two, traveling.
So in that case, you have to do Have to feed somebody.
Okay, so so number one, if they can do, some people they can do qada in short days. So if they can do qada in, let's say, winter days, then they need to do qada. And if they can't do that, then when it comes to fidya, we're coming to fidya, inshallah, which is principle number 5. Okay, so that's in terms of health. And sometimes severe depression. So when it comes to health, severe depression can also come under health as well. Because sometimes it's not just physical, something can be mental illness as well. So when it comes to severe depression, where you're just literally bedbound as well. Because like your physical health can make you bedbound, like your mental health can also make you bedbound. Where you know, so even that can count as well. So a person can be overlooked in that scenario as well. So it can be mental health, it can be physical health as well. Both applies. Okay, and number 2, who has to fast is traveling. The person must be a traveler before the start of dawn to not be obligated to fast that day. So let's say I'm going to Manchester on a business trip and I'm going to be staying there for 3 days. So again, going back to our original scenario, I'm leaving my house at what time? Tomorrow? What time am I leaving my house tomorrow? 3 o'clock, 3 p.m. Do I need to fast that day? Yes. Now, second day I'm in Manchester. Do I need to fast that day? No, I'm a traveler in Manchester. I don't need to fast. If I want to fast, I can. It's good. I'll be rewarded. If I don't want to fast, I don't have to. According to the school of Ahmed ibn Hanbal, by the way, according to him, it's makruh to fast. Yeah, so traveler should not fast. But the other 3 schools say you should still fast. Okay. So, and the third day, I'm going to be returning back to Manchester. Let's say I'm going to leave Manchester at 3 p.m. Do I need to fast on the third day? No. I Fajr time. Was I a traveler or a resident? And that's all. Remember, we care about that Fajr time. So at Fajr time, I was a traveler, hence I don't need to fast that day either.
Clarify when you stop. I go back home.
Yeah.
And I'm traveling. Is it 14? Is it 14 days? Can you clarify?
Okay, good. So if you intend to stay at a place for 15 days or more, soon as you enter that locality, you become a resident. So if I'm staying in Manchester for 15 days now, half of Ramadan, soon as I enter Manchester, I'm a resident. I need to fast the duration of it.
Yes, clarify. I'm intending to stay for 15 days. As soon as I reach, I'm now a resident, not on the 15th day.
No. Yeah. Soon as you arrive in Manchester, you become a resident. So next day I need to fast. The day after that I need to fast. Yeah. So the leeway. Don't stay there for 15 days. Stay there for 14. Yeah. So as soon as you enter Manchester, no qasr. You're treated as a normal resident. Yeah. Everyone okay with that? Okay. Okay. So if you're leaving Manchester before the 15 days, let's say you're staying in Manchester for 10 days, for example, or 5 days, then you'll still be a traveler. So you look at your final destination. Yeah.
So even if you're traveling to India for like 2 weeks or 2 weeks.
Yeah, but anywhere that you stay for 15 days, you become a resident there. Yeah. So let's say in that scenario, you're going to Scotland. So you're traveling from here to Scotland. Manchester is just a quick stop. Yeah. So the travel is from here to Scotland. Yeah. But anywhere that you stay for 15 days, you become a resident there. So then when you travel to Scotland, then it's a new journey now from Manchester to Scotland, if you were to stay in Manchester for 15 days. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, so we've discussed who does not have to fast. Likewise, children don't have to fast. If you not reach the age of maturity, you don't have to fast. Okay, and we've also covered principle number 4, isn't it? If you forget that you're fasting and you eat, even if it's an entire meal, your 3-course meal, and you remember afterwards, your fast is still valid. As long as you stop as soon as you realize. Yeah, so there's no cheating in this. Okay, lastly, fidya, what we need to cover. Okay. Fidya will only be a valid. Okay, fidya this is for a person that has chronic illness that can never fast again. This is key. Yeah, and this is where the elderly go wrong as well. Yeah. So speaking to a lot of elders, I can't convince them that they still need to do qada because they're able to. Let's say one Ramadan they had an operation, so they think that they can just give fidya now. They don't need to click no. A person is okay. Fidya is when you can never fast again. In your mind, I have a chronic illness and I will never be able to keep a fast again. Now in that scenario, can I do qada? No, I can't do qada. Yeah. In that scenario, I cannot do qada. So what do? Is fidya. So I feed a poor person the amount of sadaqatul fitr, which is like, let's say £2.50. Yeah, let's say £3. Yeah, to be on the safe side, £3 per fast. Yeah. So let's say for 30 days of Ramadan, I have to give 30 fidyas. Does that make sense, everyone? But remember, the key is this for a person that can never fast again. Yeah. And fidya is only valid after Ramadan has started. Fidya is only valid after Ramadan has started. So let's say Ramadan is in like a week or two. Yeah. Can I give fidya now for Ramadan is about to come? No, I can't. But after Ramadan starts, I can give fidya for the full 30 days in one go. Let's say on the 2nd of Ramadan, then you know what, I've got fidya money, I'm just going to give it. So you can just, distribute it wherever for the full month. That's fine. Does that make sense? Any questions on fidya?
Yeah. In terms of the illness, I know somebody who whenever they fast, they get 100% guaranteed they'll get a migraine and they'll be in the room debilitated. Is that part of fidya?
Yes, that would be. If they know for certain that this every single time that they're it's gonna happen, then yeah, that'd be a case of fidya.
Just like
Yeah.
Early on, fidya, one person, 2 meals a day.
That's kafara. That's
kafara.
Kafara. Yeah. Kafara. Yeah. Okay, let's just read what's on the screen. So fidya will only be valid substitute for fasting when the fasting person has no hope of being able to perform qada of that day at any point throughout one's life. Okay, but the trick here is, let's say you give fidya, yeah, and you've been giving fidya for the last 10 years, for example, and then you suddenly, all of a sudden, you become healthy. Do you know what happens to your fidyas? They don't count. Yeah, so you need to do qada of all the fasts that you missed. Yeah. So remember, so fidya is to show that fidya is only for extreme elderly. Yeah, it's not for young people that, I'm not really in the mood of fasting last few years. It's only for extreme weakness and extreme elderly people, where you know for certain that you can never fast again. Yeah. So if you suddenly become healthy, then you have to fast. Okay. So we'll do after Salah, we've got about 10-15 minutes left. So those of us that are able to stay. And we're just going to continue. There's a few makruh things of fasting, some mustahabs of fasting. So basically, all the gist of fasting, the main rules that we need to know, we've already learned them. Just after Salah, we've got about just a few more minutes, inshallah. Then we'll conclude. And online, guys, we're just going to pray Salah, so you guys can pray Salah as well. And we'll come back in about 6 minutes, inshallah. Can someone just quickly do Adhan? Adhan? Ibrahim? Inshallah.
Sister still in there?
Okay, just a few quick questions before we move on. So one question. What if you intend to stay for 15 days, but your plans change and your trip is shortened? So if your trip is shortened, then yeah. So let's say you stayed for 7 days. So let's say you went to Manchester. Your original intention was for 15 days. So you stayed there after. So as soon as you enter Manchester, you'll be a resident, isn't it? You pray as normal. Then after 7 days, you realize, you know what? I'm not staying there for 15 days anymore. So hence, you just go back as normal, isn't it? So on the journey back, then obviously you'll be a musafir in your journey back anyway, because you're initiating a travel. But throughout the time in Manchester.
What about the point where you realize that that you're going to shorten it, but you've still got 4 or 5 days still resident? You travel about 4 or 5 days.
Okay. Actually, so let's say you stayed for about 7 days, and then you thought, you know what? Instead of staying for another 8 days to make you realize, you know, I'm only staying for another 2 days. So now your intention has changed. Yeah. So in that case, you'll be a traveler now. Yeah. So for those 2 days, you'll be a traveler. So intention plays a big key in traveling. Can you please go through how fidya is paid? So generally, let's say it's about a certain measurement of, it's called like half a sa of wheat or barley or something like that. Yeah. So in the sadaqatul fitr, it's calculated every year. They calculate how much it is worth, but roughly, let's say it's about £3. So generally, what I tell people to do to give fidya is go on the Ummah welfare website, and there's a fidya section. That's the easiest way. And then tell you, okay, you write down for 30 Ramadans, and then tell you this is how much you need to pay. And they distribute it for you. But if you want to distribute it to your own home country, your own relatives, or poor people in your village, then give about £3 per fidya.
It's not the same value as 2 meals per day per person.
No. So 1 fidya per Ramadan. Yeah. So let's say £3 per day. So not per Ramadan, per day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So let's say in one Ramadan, 30 days, for example. So how much would that be? £90. Yeah, for the full Ramadan.
Is that like 1 meal a day for one person?
Yeah, 1 meal a day for one person.
2 meals a day.
Yeah. Okay, so that's how it's. So the easier, if you don't know anyone that you want to give it to, just give an Ummah Welfare Trust. It's the easiest thing. Okay, any other questions? Okay, just some miscellaneous questions from the sheets. I'll just read them out. We've done number 2. Smoking will necessary kafara. How many kafara will be necessary for fast broken over multiple Ramadans? We've done that. Yep, 1. When can you give fidya instead of fasting?
You know that you're not going to be able to fast ever.
Good. When you know that you're never going to be able to fast ever again. Number 5. Can you break or not keep a fast due to GCSE levels or university exams? No, you still have to keep a fast, unfortunately. Yes, you still have to. That's not a valid reason. This was a very big issue 2 years ago, I think it was. Yeah, so we had students that were 16 years old, 17 years old, and they were saying, number one, the students were saying, no, I think I still need to fast. But the parents were saying, you cannot fast. Yeah. So as a parent, if you tell your child not to fast, it's a major sin. You're telling your child to go to Jahannam, in other words. Yeah. So yes, you still have to fast due to exams. Can you pay the fidya before the Ramadan starts? No, you can't. It has to be after Ramadan has started. Okay. So as long as you know these 5 principles, you will know majority of the things, 99% of everything related to fasting that you need to guide other people in terms of what's right, what's wrong, to be a proper guide in terms of Ramadan. So all you need is this piece of paper with your 5 principles on it. If you've memorized these 5 principles with the notes, then alhamdulillah, you're good to go. And there'll be very few gray areas that you'll actually need to consult a scholar for. For all the questions that I get asked, they do not need to consult a scholar. They need to consult a person that's understood these 5 principles. Yeah. Only like gray areas that people should actually need to consult a scholar for. This is my specific scenario due to my work. So hence, what is the ruling for me personally? So that's when you contact the mufti and he'll look into your case and he'll see, okay, what are the rulings over here, for example. Yeah. But these basic things, anyone can answer these basic questions. Okay, so just a few more things and we'll finish, inshallah. Hopefully, but yeah, just a couple of minutes. Let me just get we just need to go through the makruh, the things that make the fast makruh and the things that are desirable for fasting. That's all we need to do. It's just a list of a few things. That's it. Where's the fasting PDF? Sorry, give me 1 second. There you go. Okay, fine, good. There you go. Okay, so online guys, just bear with me for a few moments and then we'll conclude, inshallah. Okay, I'm just using a terrible laptop, so just bear with me. Okay, we've done it. Everyone remember the intention stuff that we did? Tahatul Kubra. Okay, mustahab. Okay, so let's just okay. The word mustahab. There's no like arrow button to even click down.
It's a browser, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's not. Look, there's no arrow button. Nope.
Using Edge.
Sorry?
Using an Edge browser.
Yeah, but anyway, too late now. Let's see what we can. Okay, the word mustahab. Okay, so the word mustahab means everyone? Everyone? Yeah, preferable, desirable. Mustahab are things that you do to get extra rewards. So are they necessary? No. Okay, and some it's very important that we know these basic things. So in terms of fiqh terminology, whoever wants a sheet of fiqh terminology, let me know. I can send it to you afterwards. But the first, yeah, inshallah. So did you have a question or did you want the sheet terminology? Okay, inshallah. Yeah, just whoever wants a sheet fiqh terminology, just message me after and I'll send it to you. But it's very important that we know these basic terms. So fard is necessary, we have to do. Wajib necessary, we have to do. Sunnah highly recommended. Mustahab preferable. Sometimes a lot of the confusion in fiqh is when we don't understand terminologies. Sometimes many questions I get asked is when someone's left out a mustahab and they say, is my fast still valid? Yeah, but it's just a mustahab. Do I need to do it in the first place? No, I didn't. Mustahab is what you do to get extra rewards. So let's look at some of the mustahabs of fasting. Okay. So the Prophet said in the Hadith, three things are from the characteristics of prophethood. Number one, to hasten to open the fast. So as soon as you know that iftar time has started, it's makruh to delay the fasting. So you're supposed to break your fast first and then pray salah or something, for example. Yeah. So this is a key here is only when you've certain iftar time has started and then you delay it for no reason. But to delay it a few minutes when you're unsure, maybe it hasn't started. Let's say another masjid calendar is saying it hasn't started. Our calendar is saying it has started. There's nothing wrong with delaying for like 5 minutes, even if you need to. Yeah, because here the delay is not just for the sake of it; it's to make sure that iftar has actually started. Okay, to delay the suhoor. Okay, that's right at the end for like there's like 30 seconds left. Sometimes what happens we calculate to there's 10 seconds left. Yeah. So that's disliked as well. So you should stop, at least 5 minutes beforehand if possible. And to place the right hand over the left hand in salah. Okay. Actually, sorry, I mistake. I'm thinking about something else. Sorry, my brain's not working. To delay the suhoor, we're talking about mustahabs here. So here, what the Prophet I'm talking about is to delay it in the last part of the night. Yeah. So sometimes what happens is, let's say we've got work the next day, so we'll do suhoor at 12 o'clock and then we'll go to sleep. Yes, fast is valid, but we're losing out on the mustahab rewards. So suhoor, the preferable time is at least the last half an hour before Fajr time starts, roughly around the last 45 minutes to have a meal then. So that's what the Prophet meant by delaying the suhoor time until around the last portion of the night. Okay, and it's also mustahab to place the right hand over the left hand in salah. Okay, let's go through. Well, I'm just going through this very quickly. If anyone has any questions on this, though, please feel free to stop me. I can't even move this.
Page up, page down.
If you use two fingers in the mouse pad.
Perfect.
Easier.
Okay. Okay, and the last thing in terms of mustahab. Actually, no, we've already done that. Actually, no, we haven't. Okay. Okay, so the Prophet would break the fast with fresh dates. I've had people ask me that is my fast still valid if I don't eat dates for iftar? Yeah. So yes, the fast is still valid. This is just the mustahab. So in the time of the Prophet, dates were something that was found everywhere. So hence they used to eat dates a lot, and it's very nutritious, has a lot of sugar. So to break the fast with a lot of sugar, it gives you a lot of energy very quickly. So this is mustahab. If someone imitates the Prophet and eats fresh dates, then you'll be rewarded, inshallah. But your fast won't break or nullified if you don't. So fresh dates. If there were no fresh dates, then the second category would be dried dates. They're seen as more of a cheaper kind of alternative. So hence they would refrain from eating. That would be like a second choice. And if there's no dried dates, then you would take a few sips of water. So fresh dates, dried dates. If no dates available, then break your fast with the water and then have your samosas. Yeah. Yeah. So don't jump to the samosas first. I know it's tempting. Yeah. The water first. Some of you guys are thinking.
Do we have to recite the recitation before you eat?
Okay, good question. This is why interaction is so important. Okay, so do we have the actual sunnah, which many people get wrong, even many imams get wrong. The sunnah is before you eat, you say the traditional dua, Bismillah or Bismillahi wa barakatillah or Bismillahi wa ala barakatillah. Yeah, and then you eat something. After you've eaten something like a date, then you say Allahumma laka sumtu wa ala rizqika aftartu. According to the hadith, these two wordings, Allahumma laka sumtu wa ala rizqika aftartu. Sometimes like imams, they add like many things in between. Allahumma laka sumtu wa bika amantu and so on. But this isn't from the hadith. The best dua is the exact words uttered by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which was after he ate something like a date in water, then he would say Allahumma laka sumtu wa ala rizqika aftartu, which means, oh Allah, I have fasted for you. Sumtu is a past tense verb, meaning I'm no longer fasting right now. So this dua is a sunnah to be said after you've eaten, not before. You see, you go to many masjids and the imam's making dua, everyone say your dua, Allahumma laka sumtu ala. You haven't even finished your fast, you haven't broken your fast yet. Yes, dua is for after you've broken your fast. And the other dua, again, is for after you've broken your fast. So the Prophet ﷺ used to say, ذهب الظمأ وابتلت العروق وثبت الأجر إن شاء الله. So again, the dua this means ذهب الظمأ, the thirst is gone. Was it ذهب الظمأ وابتلت العروق, the veins have been moistened, and what was the next part? وثبت الأجر, and the reward has been affirmed. inshallah, if Allah wishes. So again, this is a dua for after you break in, because of the veins have been moistened now, the first has gone. So many imams, even they make this mistake and they read this dua before. So the sunnah is to read it after. Did I answer your question? I forgot what his question was. Did I answer your question? Okay. Okay. So that's how you break your fast. So these are the mustahab things. Oh, there we go. Okay, now makruh. So makruh, things that make the fast disliked, it does not break the fast. So again, if you do all the makruh things in your fast will still be valid, but you get less rewards if you do a makruh thing. Okay, so some of the makruh acts are, so remember, these do not break the fast, but they're disliked. Makruh means disliked. To chew gum, rubber, plastic, or items similar. So something that doesn't have any taste that goes down the throat. So to chew gum means flavorless gum, not like airwaves, and because obviously they have particles that go down your throat. Yeah, so to chew something that doesn't have any flavor. To collect one's saliva in the mouth and then to swallow it, trying to quench one's thirst. Again, these things go against the spirit of fasting. To delay a bath that has become obligatory intentionally until after Fajr time. Yeah. To use toothpaste or tooth powder to cleanse one's teeth. It is permitted to use a miswak of any permissible fresh branch or root. So the first, using toothpaste only makruh in the instance where it does not go down your throat. But if it goes down your throat, obviously the fast is broken. And it can very easily go down your throat. Most likely you will then you won't. Okay, other detestable action, to complain of hunger and thirst. Yeah, you get people like this all the time. Yeah, as soon as they come to the masjid is a, sorry? Yeah, first thing you hear when you enter the masjid, oh, I'm starving, I'm so hungry. When's the iftar time? Yeah, so to complain of hunger and thirst is, because what happens is, as a slave, we're supposed to be fasting for the sake of love of Allah. To go through difficulty to please our beloved is supposed to give us pleasure. To go through, when you go through difficulty for the sake of someone that you truly love, that difficulty is pleasure in itself, isn't it? So when a person is complaining of thirst and hunger, it's not coming from a place of love, it's coming from a place of resentment. Yeah, because if we're true lovers of Allah, this will bring pleasure to us. Yes, that's why it's makruh to complain of hunger and thirst. To take the water too much up the nostrils or clean the nose. Make sure none of you guys do that. Is that sniffing the water until your nose. To gargle more than necessary. So when you're fasting, you should not gargle. Gargling when you take it back in, you should not do that because very easy can go down. Just slightly rinse your mouth. Yes, even also, yeah. So it's not makruh to like rinse your mouth. You can rinse your mouth if you need to. That's fine. But yeah. Okay, to quarrel, argue, use filthy or decent words. The hadith of the Prophet is very clear in this. That whoever does not leave evil actions, evil words, Allah has no need for that person to fast. Meaning you get no rewards. So if you're still going to be lying throughout fasting and doing bad things throughout fasting, there's no rewards for fasting. Yes, the obligation to fast is done, but you get no rewards for it. To backbite, tell a lie, and swear are all sinful acts. Even one is not fast. So backbiting, lying, and things, they become even more sinful while you're fasting, and they take away all your rewards for fasting. Okay, invalidators, we're all experts at this. Things that break the fast, we don't need to go through this. Kafara, we've dealt with kafara, we've dealt with qada. Non-invalidators. Okay, this is all simple stuff. Okay, I think we're going to end over here. Okay, last thing. Okay, vomit. Okay, this is the thing that we messed up. Okay, if someone asked you, does vomiting break the fast? What would you say? Yes or no? Okay, what you're supposed to say is no. Yeah, what you're supposed to say. Remember, we're throwing it back into our factory. Yeah. So just remember this. So sometimes vomiting is something that everyone forgets every year, whether it breaks or not. Yeah. I know one person, I've told him that every Ramadan. Yeah. I don't know why he vomits so much, but yeah. I don't know why. So basically let's say I was feeling a bit sick, I vomited. Does that break my fast or not? Throw this incident back into the factory. Answer is no. Okay. But sometimes what happens is now when the vomit comes out into your mouth, yeah. Now the mouth is inner part of the body or outside of the body? Outside. Then you swallow it. Now you've taken something from the outside into the inside. What happened to your fast? broken, which is logical, yes, according to our principle. Okay, the other illogical scenario, which does not fit, this is the only illogical scenario which does not fit into our factory, is one vomits a mouthful intentionally. This will break the fast. And I can't remember the exact reason why. I haven't checked it. I was supposed to check it out before lesson, but I didn't get a chance to. I'm guessing it must be due to a hadith or something like that. There must be a hadith or qiyas from a hadith, but I need to double check why. But this is according to Hanafi school, there's no difference of opinion here. If one vomits intentionally, let's say you put your fingers down your throat and it's a mouthful of vomit, then the fast is broken. This is the only exception to our factory. Yeah? Everyone got that? And what's a mouthful of vomit? Is when you can't hold it in your mouth, it has to come out. That's what mouthful of vomit is. Everyone got that? So, okay, so going back to the normal question, does vomiting break your fast? No. Only scenario is when it's an intentional mouthful, or you swallow it after taking it out. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what in fiqh, remember, very precise with wording. So one vomits a mouthful intentionally. So the reason why mouthful is there, if it's less than the mouthful, it will not break the fast. Less than the mouthful is when you like a small amount which you can actually hold in your mouth. Yeah. And then you think, you know what, then you spit it out, your fast is still valid. Mouthful is when it comes out, you cannot hold it in your mouth. It needs to just that. Yeah. Does not praying reduce the reward of fasting too, as well as sinning? Yes. So one of the greatest sins that a person can do is missing salah. Salah is the foundation of Islam. The Prophet said the difference between a believer and non-believer is salah. So one of the greatest sins that we can do is missing salah. So sometimes what happens, sometimes we have a habit of waking up for suhoor and brushing our teeth and then even going to sleep without praying Fajr salah. So sometimes this happens. So yes, the fast is done, but there's no reward for fasting. So when we're missing our salah as well as fasting, then there are two contradictions. So yes, the obligation of fasting is done, but there's no reward for fasting. As well as sinning as well. So if one's sinning throughout. Okay, so okay, that's fine. 3 things do not break the fast, or the fasting person. Cupping does not break the fast. Again, throw back into a factory, that's bleeding. Vomiting does not break the fast in normal scenario. Wet dreams does not. Okay, we already know this. Okay, so if you've sometimes what happens, it's like a vomit that comes into your throat, yeah, and then you swallow it right back down. Does that break the fast? No, because it didn't come into mouth in the first place, isn't it? Throat is the inside of the body. Can I swallow? What's the answer to this from last week? Can I swallow bits of food left between the teeth?
Yeah, it's less than the size of a chickpea.
Yeah. So if, let's say after I've done suhoor and there's a bit of food left and I just swallow that, it won't break the fast. Unless it's a very big piece. Like chickpea is a very big amount, isn't it? Yeah, it's like a morsel. Yeah, so if it's bigger than the chickpea, then your fast will break.
You'll probably do the teeth that is bigger than the chickpea.
Okay. Yeah, so if it's just food stuck in your tooth and you swallow it, that's fine. But what you shouldn't do is take it out, look at it, and then, yeah, that would break the fast. And then you took it out. Will kafara become necessary? So you take food out, let's say a bit of pizza, leftovers, take it out, look at it. Oh, looks like yummy cheese.
Yes, but you're not fully fulfilling the desire of eating by doing that.
Was it a mistake as well?
He looked at it and put it in his mouth.
Yeah.
This is a juristic. This is a question for a jurist.
Fully fulfilling the desire of eating by putting it back in the mouth. So no.
Wow.
Okay.
Literally, this is
Okay, within the Hanafi school, there's two opinions. According to one opinion, yes, this is a food substance, and he intentionally put it in his mouth, and he ate it. Kafara will be necessary. According to another opinion, this is not proper nourishment that people enjoy. Yeah, so it resembles like eating salt or grass, and so hence qada will not be necessary. I believe it was Ibn al-Humam. I think it was him. So he basically reconciled between two opinions. He says if a person comes to me who's genuinely worried about his fast, yeah, and he just made a mistake, he would tell that person just do qada only. But if it's a person that's careless, he doesn't care about fasting, yeah. So for him, I'll tell him to do kafara, yeah, because he's done it without being careless, yeah. So that's how we would differentiate between the two. Okay, and this is all easy stuff. Eardrops and eye drops, do they break one's fast?
No, it's your ankles broken.
No. Do eye drops break the fast? No.
Is that
Right.
connected? It's not connected to.
Okay, so we've already done all these questions. What I'll do, I'll send these slides out, whoever wants these slides, in case for your future reference. These are actually the old slides. These are new slides, and these are old slides. I'll get you the updated. One of my friends, he made the slides. I didn't realize he updated it until he saw this video on YouTube. So what are you using the old slides for? So I'll get you the old new slides. Whoever wants them, I'll send them. Just message me, and I'll send it out to you. And the Q and any other questions that anyone needs, the principle, especially the principle sheet, is very important. You need to have
questions. Haven't got the number.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's plenty of the question sheets are plenty to go around. If anyone that's. Does a nursing woman need to fast? Yes, unless her health will be compromised. Yeah. So nursing woman is treated as a normal woman unless her health will be compromised or the baby's health will be compromised. And that's generally it. We've covered everything through the fasting, inshallah. So we'll finish there. Inshallah.
So we're back on next week. Next week.
Yes, we're back on next week.
And during Ramadan as well.
We'll have to decide. We'll decide next week what we're going to do in Ramadan. Next week, what we'll do is we need to cover the masail of zakat, which is very important, and i'tikaf as well. Yeah, we'll do that next week, inshallah, for the Fiqh students.
Taking on new students as well.
We'll give them application form.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been running since about November. Yeah, yeah. So this is actually a part of our Fix It. We just thought because Ramadan's coming up, we just advertise it and get everyone to join in. But we have our every Saturday is our Fiqh. We do Fiqh and Seerah. And online guys as well. If anyone wants to join our Fiqh course and our Seerah course, feel free to sign up. And all you need to do is message me for the details, inshallah. If you have any other questions related to fasting, any personal scenarios related to fasting, feel free to message me. And Jazakumullah khairan for everyone for joining the course. And I'll see everyone hopefully during another course, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. And Salif, I'll answer your question, and I'll send the message on the group, inshallah. And I'll see everyone, inshallah, soon, hopefully. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.